Welcome back to Our Cynic Culture. I am Matt.
Jason.
Jeff.
We have the most expensive bottle of bourbon you will never try. Willett 8-year, 139 proof. Let's get drunk. Willett, I did a little research. Willett was actually started in 1936, shortly after Prohibition, but they didn't actually make anything until much later.
1938.
What?
2 years later?
Yeah, just 2 years later. But they do Johnny Drum. They do Old Bardstown. They are responsible for a lot of kind of budget brands.
Did they do very Old Bardstown or just Old Bardstown?
I don't care.
It's old Bardstown. You're right. There's another one. Yeah.
They don't do very Old Bardstown.
No, I ain't doing that shit.
But the Willett Family Reserve bottles were debuted in 2008, and they were sourced back then, right? Mm-hmm. And then
they might have been a little bit before then, but they've got some old ones. Go ahead.
Really, and then then they started using their own distillate in like 2013. So tell us a little bit more about what we got here, though.
So this one here is, you'll pass that on over here. This is a purple top, Willett. So these are very desirable. Secondary, I mean, you're looking...
Because it's purple?
Because it's purple.
I like purple.
I do too, but it's actually their own distillate. So Matt talked a little before. Some of the older Willett bottles go for tens of thousands of dollars. I mean, they're pretty crazy. If you ever been to Willett... I'm not even joking.
Jeff's laughing.
Yeah. I'm laughing at the person who paid $10,000 for a bourbon.
We can't bash on that, but
it's probably the same guy that's got like 2 Bugattis and
a Tesla.
Well, 4 Teslas maybe.
Do you know anybody who has a Tesla?
I don't know. Let's move on.
So, have you been to Willett before? Either one of you?
No, I have not.
Okay, so it's in Bardstown. Have you been to Heaven Hill before?
No, I've not been inside.
Actually, no.
Holy shit, fellas, we gotta get you out.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I asked you once and you said no.
Yeah, I'm not going with you. But Willett has a beautiful campus. They've done a lot of additions there. They built a really nice gift shop. It has like a little coffee bar inside it.
Really?
And then upstairs, they have this restaurant. Now, it's not always open. It's got weird hours, like 3 or 4 days a week.
Wait, do they have like Willett coffee?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, that'd be cool.
Do they say will it or won't it?
It is very good, but they also have pours behind the bar. It's one of the nicest bars I've ever been to. They have pre-prohibition bottles in there.
Okay.
They have their old wax tops that are the ones that are really famous. You're talking 20-some-year-old bourbon, rye. A lot of it was, it was sourced, so they can't disclose who it was sourced from, but the rye, my guess, is almost all of it came from MGP.
Right.
A lot of the bourbon probably came from Heaven Hill, Bernheim Distillery, Louisville, stuff like that. So they have a lot of stuff. But the people worried, hey, when they switch from the source stuff, can they actually make their own that's good? Well, they have. So,
I always thought, when we started seeing the 2-year-old bottles.
The rye, the green top.
I thought they didn't make any of their own stuff. But you're saying, no, historically they have.
Well, historically they haven't. So they only started in 2012 making their own distillate.
Back then they didn't.
Yep.
When they started,
so between 1936 and 2012, they didn't do anything?
No. It's a weird history. So it's back in their family. I mean, they've had it the whole time. They're family owned. It's Drew Kolsveen is his name.
Yeah.
He started in 2003 there, and he's been the master distiller. I couldn't find exactly when he became the master distiller, but somewhere between 2003
it's been the family
and 12.
too. So he took over from like his dad, and I guess they.
So his dad married one of the girls from the Willett, and that's how the tree started there. Yeah. But one thing with Drew that he's done is he's really worked with like fine dining establishments. And he has, we've done a tour once, me and my dad did, but they had country hams, hanging in the rick houses. And you've heard of Blackberry Farms, the beer? Right. So they actually have a Blackberry Farm in Tennessee. It's really, it's very pricey to stay there. It's like a resort stuff. Resort. And they have very good chefs there and everything. So those hams go down there.
Oh, they buy them from Willett.
So then they have like store pick Willett and stuff, and he does stuff for Nashville. There's a couple places down there he helps and does stuff.
For my birthday, can you buy me a weekend at Blackberry?
Yeah, can I borrow $10K?
Not from me.
Oh, well,
you'll have to borrow from somebody.
Then I can't do it.
So are the hams that are hanging in the Willett rick houses, what's the purpose? Are they soaking up the angel's share or something like that?
So the theory is, let's try it that way. Now, I can't remember if it was Blackberry Farm that wanted to do that or it was the place in Nashville.
Doesn't it have to be really dry to do that?
What do you mean?
I mean, I don't know about curing ham, but I thought to get the right bacteria, it has to be a very dry.
Well, typically, like growing up in the country, I grew up in the country a little bit more than you did, I think, Jeff. I'm not sure.
I'm from Breathitt County. Where are you from?
That's where I'm from. But
Who's
anyway,
your people? Where you stay?
You know, growing up and stuff, what people would do is hang their hams out like the barn. So essentially, a rick house is a closed barn.
Yeah.
So I think that the theory of it is, let's see if it will impart some of those flavors. I mean, if you walk in a rick house, have you been in one before?
Oh yeah.
So it's like sweet.
There's some sweetness,
right? It's just sweet. It's such a good flavor, like good nose
Like
flavor.
going through a brewery, you smell wort in a brewery, or you smell a rick house. You smell. There's a certain sweetness in the air. Yeah.
So speaking of that, he actually has 3 nominations himself. The master distiller, for the James Beard Outstanding Wine, Beer, and Spirits Professional. That I could see he's not won it, but I mean, to even get nominated for that from a distiller, that's pretty cool. I mean, they do a good job. But anyway, back to this bottle. So this is a single barrel store pick from Liquor Barn. I want to say they did maybe 5 different picks at the same time.
That's from Liquor Barn?
And it released. So the way you know it, on the back.
No.
This is Liquor Barn.
When did you buy that?
I got this one probably 2 weeks ago.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you just walked in and got that?
Yeah. Got really lucky. So
wow.
I actually had a different one, and I actually traded for this one.
Gotcha.
So this is the one I wanted. This is their high corn recipe. So it's high corn recipe and also the higher entry proof.
Now talk about the retail for that bottle.
So retail for this, Willett has done something from the get-go of they kind of price their bottles secondary already.
Right.
So they want to get that out of there, but you can't. So secondary on this one, usually a good rule of thumb with Willett is about $100 per year. But with this one, I think when people actually tried this one,
well, that's not $100 per year then.
Secondary.
Oh, secondary.
Yeah. Keep up.
I zoned out for a while.
For 3 seconds.
I thought I was in a wonderful fantasy.
From the people that picked this, and his name's Brad that does the picks over there. Shout out to you. I mean, it's fantastic picks coming from Liquor Barn. I don't think I've had a bad one. This one I have heard is maybe the best or the favorite. Right. So
the Willett bottles, though, specifically, they have commanded some really insane hype. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. From like fanboys and stuff like that. But is all of it deserved necessarily?
So I can't speak to it, and here's why: I can't afford it. I mean, I wasn't into Willett when you could actually get those, because I do remember walking in Liquor Barn probably 15 years ago, and seeing these wax bottles on the shelf or in a glass case, but they were $300 or $200, and I'm like, who the hell is paying that? You know what I mean? Like, I don't care if it's did. Well, I know this is 15 years ago.
Time ago.
But you look at that, and now, I mean, I would give you $2,000. I mean, it's just worth $12. You know, it's insane what those old bottles are worth.
But they have, I don't know if that's part of their marketing plan to do this, or if it's just how it turned out. But they have purposefully created small batches in order to limit how much stock there is actually out there. That, coupled with the exorbitant retail pricing on it, it's like you said, they're already creating a secondary market for it, which has inflated the actual secondary market like to no end.
It's insane.
It's absolutely crazy. But people are still spending thousands of dollars on these things secondhand for it. But I mean, there's a lot of good bourbon out there that you can get for a lot less than that. So is it worth it?
We'll find out. But I mean, the latest secondary on this one went for $9.50 is the last I saw. Now, so Matt's taking the picture. We're going to show you if you're watching on YouTube or something. We'll try to throw a clip up with it too. But this is their insignia from Willett. And, you know, reading back, so a long time ago, somebody down the line from Willett actually was a pewter, and I'm probably saying that wrong.
But it's called computer.
No, they have
like a
computers
pewter, like a pewtersmith. Yeah.
So once you're like proficient with that, you get your own crest or your own stamp. That's it. Yeah. So they've brought that back, and they've really accented that. So if you go to the distillery, they have a ton of merch with that on there, glassware and stuff. It's really nice. They've done a good job.
Yeah.
All right, let's crack it.
Do it now. So this one is closing in on 70% alcohol, 139.4,
which is what we would call hazmat.
So one thing you got to keep in mind is that what's considered the appropriate ratio for rubbing alcohol is actually 70% alcohol.
Okay.
So we are drinking.
This is rubbing alcohol.
We are drinking the equivalent of isopropyl alcohol.
So if you get a cut,
pour it on there.
Pour that shit on there. Yeah, that'll be an expensive ass Band-Aid, but yeah.
snake bite.
So have you had any Willett before, Jeff? Have you tried any of theirs? You said I think you had the rye, maybe.
I've tried Willett before.
Matt, have you had any?
Not yes, obviously.
And I've actually got one of the pot stills upstairs if you want to do like a control or something.
Well, I actually brought this one just to show what it looks like. So this is just a little mini of the pot still, and honestly, it's probably the nicest bottle. One of the nicest bottles in bourbon.
Nicest looking bottles. Yeah.
Not the taste. No, not the taste. But now, I did hear they changed their mash bill, so we'll see.
Oh, really?
How that goes.
Okay.
What do you think of that?
I'm a little scared of this one. I think I love right in between 100 and 110. That's the sweet spot for me for a proof. When you get over 110, like it gets a little more fusel for me, and it's borderline hard to enjoy.
Sit down a minute.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. That'll open your nose.
But that's the point to where like I have to add water, have to add ice. So at 140 proof, in my mind, this is basically bourbon concentrate. So it's like you think of like Tide that you buy. Remember like 15, 20 years ago, Tide, it was like in a big jug and you pour like this much in there. But then they had the concentrate where you pour smaller amounts and it goes a lot longer. I feel like that's what we're getting into here. You get up to 70%. So you get up to 75% alcohol. Like that's not safe to drink all the time. Like I want to say it's almost like you have to cut it. Like I
want to say the strongest one I remember seeing is maybe 144 on some different bottles. Maybe not Willett, but they have a database online. I mean, no offense to the Willett fans. They're big nerds. So am I. I get it. There's like Google Docs, like everything online you can access and see. So looking through them all, there's a ton of different barrels, but I'd say this is in the top 10 of highest proofs.
Right.
So it's up there. So Jeff, go ahead.
Stronger doesn't necessarily mean better. It's the idea is not to just to get a stronger bourbon. So I mean, what are the advantages?
I married my first bourbon, Jeff.
What are the advantages of something like this?
So here's what I would tell you if you're tasting this one. Try it straight, what you did.
That's probably my third or fourth sip.
Add a little water.
Now it got me.
Add a little water. You're all right.
I think I would have put an ice cube in it.
Go get one.
But I'm all right. Hi, water. How you doing?
So, do you need some help?
Why'd you buy such giant bottles of water?
What do you get on the
struggle with it?
But I mean, the nose is pure alcohol, man.
Is that that's all you get?
No, I mean, both the taste and noses. I mean, I get some caramel.
Okay.
I get
Wait, do you get caramel?
Some caramel.
What about caramel?
Caramel.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go back and do like a montage of every bourbon that Jeff tries. And he's like, I get caramel.
I get caramel.
Vanilla. Smooth.
Light banana.
You get banana in this?
Tiny bit of banana.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Matt, have you tried a sip or just a nose?
But it's very...
Do you want some of this?
I mean, it's also alcohol.
Well, no shit.
There's a lot of fusel.
So again, though, this goes back to another thing.
Alcohol taste to it.
This also goes back to the other part of the neck pour.
Yeah.
So the science says there's no difference in that, like the first pour from a bottle. But from everything I've tried, there is.
So you're saying science is wrong?
I'm saying science is wrong in that.
Right. Do you think
man landed on the moon?
Nah.
I get a little bit of spice. I get some bright kind of bready notes on there, almost like a banana bread.
Okay.
Dynamite banana.
So if I didn't see the corn on the back, the high corn, I wouldn't maybe pick it out. But I get that, like the sweetness from the corn, I can pick that out. I get a little bit of the caramel. It's like I get a little bit of brown sugar. It's definitely that old like stale rickhouse. I don't know how to describe that oak from that for me.
Yeah. Your dad's underarms.
Not that.
It's actually really sweet. It's super sweet. Mm-hmm. And it almost lends credence back to what I was saying about it being like bourbon concentrate. I'm still swallowing it. It is a lot of alcohol. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, it's hot. I mean, it's 140, 139.4.
Yeah. See, that's. I actually like the flavor profile of that, but that's too much for me to enjoy. Like I'd have to cut that.
Add a little water, so it changes.
I feel like I need a thief or something.
Just take it like, there you go. Perfect.
I put a little drop of water in mine.
Yeah, see what you think.
Just a dabble, do you?
Let it open up.
Well, so what do you think of that?
So the flavor profile, I mean, there's some burn to it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I need it 140 proof, but I think with the high corn recipe, the sweetness is there.
Yeah.
And I think with that 140-ish proof, really cuts back into it, so it's not overly sweet to me.
Okay.
I could see if this was at 120, I think it'd be so sweet you'd be just like, oh. But there's a lot of flavor to it.
Well, I'm wondering if the sweetness kind of helps temper the higher proof. Like I get a lot
100%.
I get a lot of very sweet kind of like toffee in there, like a real dark like English toffee. But yeah, like you said, if that was like 120, it would probably be like just like straight sugar. The fact that it is stronger, maybe that kind of helps deliver. Again, it's just still too much alcohol for me, but I actually like the way it tastes.
Well, the way I look at it, if you remember back a few episodes, we had that Obtainium, that light whiskey with the KBS barrel finish. I don't remember the proof on that, but I want to say it's like 130-ish.
Yeah.
I felt like that was hotter than this to me.
Yeah.
And the reason why is I don't think it's as good a flavor. Like it was trying to hide it even with like adjuncts, all that KBS barrel. Couldn't do it. This is nothing but barrel.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of flavor just for that. So for my palate, I love it.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot going on.
I think it's very good.
Yeah.
If I was to buy a bottle of this retail, I would consider it, but I physically can't just do 2 ounces of this straight. I'm actually sweating a little bit drinking that. I like it, but it's too much. I mean, I'm a man enough to admit it's too much, you know?
It's not saying that I can. I mean, I'm going to try it with some water here and see if it changes it. But
do you want to try it with some Natty Light, Natter Days?
No, I'm trying to quit. So what do you think about any bourbons you would compare this to that you've had, Jeff?
I don't know at the top of my head. If I'd walked in the store and seen that on the shelf, I wouldn't have known what it was.
So anytime, the giveaway for Willett, anytime you see the purple top, stop and look, because those do not come out very often.
I wouldn't have known that if I'd walked in and seen it, that purple was something.
That's why you come to the show.
That's why I'm friends with this guy.
Now, they did release a rye during this one. I think it was 8 or 9 year old, and I think it was like $3.40 retail. Right. I did get to have a pour at that at the tasting bar at Hamburg Liquor Barn, but it's good.
How do you compare the two?
Well, rye and bourbon, it's hard to compare it that way. Right. I mean, I'm a rye fan, but to me, I'm not paying half that for that rye.
Was it spicy?
I mean, it's just, Baker spice. I mean, it's nothing like, This one here, though, this is my pour. Like, this is probably my wheelhouse right here for bourbon for me. It's a little sweet, but that proof cuts it. Tons of oak coming through, a little caramel. So it's I'm biased on this one.
Yeah, I like
water.
Yeah, I like this with a little bit of water here.
I'm gonna try. I got a little bit right here.
Oh, okay.
So Jeff, I mean, Matt, is there any bourbon you would compare this to?
I mean, I can't think of anything specific off the top of my head, but definitely something that's a little bit more, has a more richer profile, something more full bodied. Kudos, compliments to them for actually being able to deliver something like this. I mean, this is actually much better than I thought it was going to be. I saw 70% alcohol. And I'm like, oh, sweet. Like you said, let's rub it on a fucking cut, or a bee sting later on. But no, I mean, I could see myself drinking this with like an ice cube or two.
Splash of water just changed it. I mean, it opened it up a lot for me.
Does, so it's much easier with a little tiny bit of water.
Yeah. Again, I mean, if you go to a tasting, we all need to do that. We need to head down to Heaven Hill and do the Bourbon Connoisseurs tasting. They'll walk you through it, let you try it straight, let you put a drop in, maybe 2, and just see how it changes. It's pretty cool.
I get a little more dark fruit once I actually put some water in there. Yeah.
So let's go back to price. So $280. So that is very expensive. Generally what you look at, if I'm picking out a bourbon, it's usually $10 per year aged.
Yeah.
And if you see a value, it'll be less than that. So Weller 12 coming in at like 90 proof, is 12 years old. It should be $120. It's probably $60. That's a buy every time, right? This one here at $280 for 8 years. So what is that? $35 a year. I mean, so they're pricing high.
I think most bottles that I see on the counter, I would have no problem in paying whatever retail is. Even with like some of the Willett bottles, I know what I'm getting. This one I think is a pass for me. I enjoy it. I think it's a great, fantastic product, and I think they did an amazing job with it. I just don't ever see me drinking it. Not just
too hot.
It's too hot for what it is, but it's like I come home from work, and when I want to pour, there's not many times to where I just want to stop, chill, dissect what I'm drinking and enjoy it. They happen, but usually I'm just grabbing a bottle of Russell 10 or something and just, put it in there. I know what it is. I know I enjoy it. With this one, it's almost like an experience. I don't want to get to like,
I think that's exactly what Willett wants it to be.
And it really is.
I think you nailed it.
But like for how much it is and for what it is, like even when I got friends coming over, and I pour this for them, I don't even think they'd appreciate it.
Well, it depends on who it is. Like if it was you, I'd pour it. If it's Jeff, I would.
But like the majority of my friends, like they enjoy bourbon. But if I pour them a 140 proof bourbon, they're gonna be like, "Oh, thanks." But I don't think they would see past that. You see what I'm saying?
For me, Willett has landed on the mark. So what they wanted to do, if you go to their distillery, you will see what they want it to be. It is a craft distillery. It's not Buffalo Trace, huge millions and millions of dollars just spread. Like they're a small operation considering.
Really? Okay. I just assumed there would be a lot more money in that.
I mean, there's a lot of money there. Don't get me wrong. But when you walk up there, when you drive in, it's like a gravel road. So you're driving through there. When you pull up, there's like 5 or 6 rick houses you see that looks like me and you built it. Like it's just like 10.
They're falling down.
And then, well, they're sturdy, but they look like, me and you did it. So then you drive around to the backside. There's a wedding venue. It's like beautiful over there. I can't imagine what that costs.
Yeah.
And then you go to the distillery. So the distillery part and the gift shop, that's where that restaurant is. And if we should go to Heaven Hill, and they're like 3 minutes from Heaven Hill.
Let's go.
So
we should do.
Will you drive?
We need to do the bourbon tour, and we need to do a show on the bourbon tour.
I'm for it. I'm for it. But for me, I mean, this is a buy for me. If you look at secondary on this bottle, $9.50. I mean, I'm a pass at that. I don't think that's where I'm at. I think this bottle will actually increase in value. It's very. It's a very niche like market for those people, and I think they'll go wild once they try it because you don't see this bottle out. No. So I would buy it every time at $2.80. I'd pass secondary.
I'm glad I got to try it, but this is one of the few unfortunate passes for me. As good as it is, if I saw a pour again, I would probably get another pour, but I wouldn't get a bottle.
Just don't buy the pour at Willett because it'd be about $200.